So we're finally at quorum, so let's call the meeting to order at 7:03, 4, whatever it is here.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the agenda? I just have one, like, literally typo. The minutes down under the consent agenda are January 15th of 18 and December 18th of 17. Other than that, I think we're good. Anything else? All right. Members of the public, you guys can speak to anything you want on the agenda. If you're here for a specific reason, you want to bring something up, now is your chance to speak. Otherwise, you can certainly speak during the meeting. Nothing you want to bring up right now? Okay. Anybody have any correspondence? Okay. Ow. All right. New business, vision statement. For this, I don't know how many of you actually know Jen McCusick. You're director of curriculum, right?
Correct.
That's the title? Okay. Jen has worked more hours than I can imagine on this. You reviewed what, the whole, like a bunch of our meetings, you watched tapes of all of our meetings, abstracted stuff, put together documents to help us. Bill and I and Bill and Jen met separately to put together the visioning homework that you all got, that I'm sure everyone turned in, right? Now we're going to turn the meeting over to Jen to kind of lead us through the whole visioning process that was outlined in that homework. And at the end of this, the goal is that within the next hour and a half, we should actually have the vision statement. So, yes, sir.
Could I just ask the board to introduce themselves for the camera and for the audio?
Certainly. Certainly. Would you like to start?
Sure. I'm Bill Anton, I'm the superintendent.
Patty Dixon, I'm from Jamaica.
Nancy Dyke from Wyndham.
Joe Winrick, I represent Townsend.
Emily Long from Newfane.
Al Clausen, Townsend.
Alicia O'Donnell, Brookline.
Ken McFadden, Newfane.
Thank you. Okay. Now, please.
All right.
Jen.
So I'm actually going to project some stuff on the screen
I
behind
was
you,
going to say, we're all
so
going to switch sides of the table.
that might make more sense, just to make it a little bit easier for, I'll just talk behind you.
Everybody switch sides.
Try that, I like to keep you active. Turn back after.
We're going to mess you up, aren't we?
You sure?
Yeah.
I figured I might be doing this with that too, I apologize.
About face. About face.
Here you go, Al. So I have a handout, I'll pass out if I have extra, what I have out for you. Okay. So I'll just take one and pass it down. Okay, thank you. So just to start, Joe introduced, I'm not sure what to do. We'll go from here. Hi, and I'll step behind you to do my PowerPoint.
You want me to do that?
All right. Sure, that'd be great.
You can.
Okay, so I'll move, I'll kind of step place a little bit here.
You go. Take whatever you want.
So it should be set up that all you have to do is hit the tab.
Got it.
There's some extras to show.
That's okay. You're in the camera.
Yeah,
I have two extra.
The two teachers can have
you good?
So as Joe said, the purpose, what I did do is I went back. Bill asked if I would help with this work. As I went back through and I did watch your videos and I read through all the statements from the VSBA and I went through all the minutes. And then I tried to bring out themes that I saw for all of those. And then I did some background work that I shared, probably last month Bill shared on my behalf, kind of how vision statements work and the work that's ahead of you. And then from there, we designed some homework after Bill and Joe met and so then I went through those documents and I brought that together for us today. So I've tried to compile and tease out some big themes, but also bring us to a more narrow focus so we're not so far out here that we can maybe come together for a statement itself. The great news is that there's a lot of commonalities and that most of the work is done, so to speak, and now it's a matter of kind of putting that together. So tonight, as Joe said, our outcome is to get to the point where we have a vision statement that we all agree upon, that maybe there might be some wordsmithing and tweaking because of just, I'll be the syntax verb agreement person, subject predicate verb, noun agreement person, I'll pick you with that and help with that. But that in general, it's a lot of consensus, it's a lot of compromise, but you don't want to lose your big picture about what you view is your work. So that's the constant back and forth. So I've shared handouts with you that I'm hoping, at a couple points I'll ask you to kind of keep some notes for yourself, but that as I structure this conversation, you'll see that there's points where you really want to make sure that your thoughts are heard. I might say, can we write those down and come back to that? So, all right, let's do it. So the first slide, thinking about what does a vision statement do? If you could, if it's easier to read on the screen, that might help. It's a little bit of a small font. So I want to share that vision statements are not, they're not slogans and they're not soliloquies. They are somewhere in between. They are 3 to 4 sentences long. They are your vision, your passion about what you want to see. They're your ideal. They're like, if you could build anything and have everything look like a perfect school system for you, that's what your statement should be. So when I went through your work, there are pieces in there that I would call goal statements, specifics that aren't part of the vision, but I did capture them on another page, another PowerPoint slide that are the goals, and I've given that to Bill. So at any point during today, or during our vision statement work, if something comes out that's something you really care about and you want to make sure it doesn't get missed, we'll add it to that goal sheet if it doesn't fit into the vision statement work we're doing here. So big takeaways for me as we look at this are thinking about those long-term ideals, that it's aspirational and captures your passion and what you believe we need to get to. It's not too narrow, and it doesn't have, but it doesn't have, it has some details that help you have a structure. So one piece that came out when we were looking, I was looking at your homework, or what some of you turned in, is that sometimes vision and mission statements get a little blurry, like who has a vision statement and who has a mission statement. And vision statements, again, are this ideal of what we really want it to look like, and mission statements are actually kind of like what organizations do. So if you would click to the next slide. All right, so this is an example of the Life is Good company. Give me a thumbs up if you know the Life is Good company. Hats, t-shirts, apparel. So this is their mission statement. That's why the Life is Good community shares one simple unifying mission: to spread the power of optimism. And then they have this beautiful graphic that is all these things. Their vision statement is about 4 paragraphs long, and it speaks to what their purpose of how they're going to get there. So their goals, guess what their goals are? Right? Those are the t-shirts and the apparel. But so their vision is where they want, their ideas where they want to be, and their mission statement is what they do. So I think, Al, I think you actually said something in one of yours, your homework.
Yeah, I kind of define the what we do versus the what we want to do.
Right, what we want to achieve versus,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So I would like to give you, my advice is that you don't have a mission statement. Because school board organizations or school organizations often don't have mission statements because their vision statement encompasses all their schools, and then their schools have sometimes missions or they have goals within those. So as a school board, that can be really clunky if you try to do both. Up to you, but after we get past the vision, if you want to create a mission, that's step 1.B. Okay. All right, so the next slide, I will read these aloud. These are the emerging themes, when I talked about boiling these pieces down of what I saw come out in all of those pieces. These were emerging themes that I saw in everyone's work. Can't read them at the back. I hate to read aloud to people, so I'm happy to do that, but it might help for, well, help for television. Okay, our emerging themes. Students at the center, it was a priority, that we be forward-thinking, that we have the flexibility to grow and change within this organization, that we care about climate and culture, that equity, and its many different definitions, is part of what we believe in here, that we have financial responsibility for our taxpayers and our communities, that our students, and even our teachers, depending on whose homework I was reading, have a demonstration of skills, that our instruction that we provide has high student engagement and is inspirational for students, that we provide a world-class education, or at least a world-class environment for that education, that we're inclusive to all learners, which speaks to both the equity, but also I think to students with special needs, students from different populations, students from different communities, which I also heard, that all communities within our umbrella get represented. That we're responsible to our communities, both as their education, but also to produce good citizens and students who want to, if they don't stay here, but contribute to the communities that they end up being a part of. And then that our students are prepared for the future, whatever that looks like, which we don't always know what that's going to look like. So I said one part I was going to ask for you to think about when on your homework sheet, or on your sheet, not your homework, your notes in front of you. If we get to the end, I'm going to ask you to come back and look at this again. So when we craft that vision statement at the end, let's make sure we tick these off. So I'm going to allow some practice time for you, reflection time for you, to look and see, have we captured all these in our vision statement? It's a pretty lofty goal. And that said, if there are things that you care about very, as an individual or representing your school community, your individual communities, it's important that somewhere you're writing those down to make sure that they get captured later. Fair enough? Okay. All right, so what I did was I took the vision statement and I broke it into 4 parts. And we're gonna break that up and we're gonna capture each part separately and then glue those back together. And I'm gonna try to take notes on that actual statement.
Got it.
Got it, okay. Thought I would have the laptop, but we're working it out. So if you go to the next slide, Bill. So, this is part 1. There are 4 parts. On the upper left-hand corner is kind of what this part does for us. Underneath are some words that I heard that came from your themes of what you shared with me that will kind of speak to this first section. And then on the right, I have, thank you. I'm giving you some examples. So in order to try to help this process, again, this isn't my statement, this is yours. I'm here to facilitate and help. But what I suggested was that we start with the statement, West River Board is committed to, and if we're comfortable, we pick one of those bullet points and start teasing it out. Does that make sense?
Just one of those.
I would say let's start with one, because this
Oh, I
is just
see.
the first section. So for that very first part of our statement, so it might say, West River Board is committed, I'm sorry, I could do the whole unified, but West River Board is committed to ensuring outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable and available to all learners. So that's just the first part of our sentence, and then we keep adding. Or, we choose the second bullet. Our board is committed to providing outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, available, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students. Or, our board is committed to, and in partnership with, families and communities to providing a safe, inclusive, and supportive educational environment throughout all schools. So this is your language that I've taken from all the pieces.
Want feedback?
I do want feedback.
I want the middle one
Okay.
to start with.
I was just gonna
That's just
say,
me.
I want the middle one.
You said one,
Emily?
I suggested we start, if we're gonna work from one, I like the middle one, which is more all
So this is part 1 of 4
Right.
parts.
Get it?
And I'm going to remind you again, this should be 3 to 4 sentences long in its entirety.
Okay.
So if we start with this, that's fine, but there's gonna be some cleaning up for sure.
So depending on
Well,
what, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
So depending on what comes in part 2, 3, and 4, we may go back and revisit what we do in part 1. It may become redundant. It may be like, oh, we really need to add this. We really need to. But if we go through these and look at these and maybe change a word or two here, but get through and get the whole 3 or 4 parts together, then we go back and we start modifying that
Correct.
framework. Is how this should work, right?
Correct, so we could start with bullet point 2 and have that be our first opening statement and then come back and say, that's too many words, or we captured this somewhere else. That's fine too.
So let me just explain. My reason for picking the middle one was because to me it was more all-encompassing. If that's not what we're looking for in this first part, which was not what I was thinking about when I said that I'm fine with any one, but
No,
it
I just,
captures more.
it does
what
capture
my-
more. I totally agree with you, Emily. I think what I'm trying to help guide is that we not end up with these many adjectives at the end.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like that if we somehow sink that in. So
There's
I'm
a lot of positive words in that middle.
make sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm
reason-
going for it.
The reason I like it is that it's not just talking about, here's some opportunities, it's talking about engaging and drawing students into those opportunities.
And it opens up for the future.
Wonderful.
I love empowered.
Empower, okay. So
Like
that's like something, like write that down. If you have
active
empower.
and
That's something that my person.
Absolutely.
Just a thought about mission and vision statements overall, and I kind of said it in my email. I think to me, a vision statement should be something that's memorable, right? Something that if we take it out into the community, they could, if it's good enough, they can spit it back to us. I mean, think of all the great companies where we know their little catchphrases and you know, what they're about, and it speaks to what they're about. So to me, the vision or mission statement should be short and sweet to the point, and then you kind of build out from there, right? So mission, you have what we do, vision, you have what we want to do, and then you build out from there by creating and layering onto it, and then continuous education plan. I mean, it all kind of builds from that, so you need to kind of layer to it and have a nice, short and concise vision statement that kind of just punches it home for people. When we go out and speak to the communities, we want to have something that they can just latch onto. That's just my thought. I think I've seen so many statements where, you know, by the end of it, you're out of breath. You know, and what did I just say? So and all of these things are super important. I mean, nobody would disagree with that. But how you build out from it.
I'm in agreement with you, except that I think you're describing more of what I see as a mission as opposed to a vision. A vision is more, it's not something that people will necessarily remember, but it will frame what the goals of the community are for the children.
Yeah.
I just see them as two separate things.
Oh, the mission, the vision, absolutely. And I totally agree. But again, I think both of them should be short and concise.
So Al, do you feel like when we get to that, if we start with this bullet point here, like when we get to that end statement, that you can come back at that again with that viewpoint and maybe help us par it down?
Sure.
Are you
I mean, I
comfortable
think that's a
with
great
it?
build-out. That's a great build-out. I mean, you could kind of like, anyway,
It's a good place to start, because
Yeah.
it's easier to start with the bigger and
narrow it down.
narrow it down.
Sure.
Ken, what do you think?
Well, I do like 2, I like 3, I like 1. They're all good. But, you know, well,
It's not easy,
they all have a little bit, you know, but, I mean, 2 is really good, except right, you know, we are elected from our communities, and I think we should, in our vision, say, you know, we want to include the community.
Yep.
I mean, to be honest,
Do that.
this board has way more members of the public than my meetings do.
Well, and I think, Ken, that's really important that you hold on, like that part about community and how we respond to it, because that comes out as part of one of the parts.
Okay.
And I'm gonna kind of hold you to be my person that makes sure we come back to that and don't lose that piece
Okay.
when we write this. And I'm gonna help you be a little nitpicky too, that there's a big difference, not big difference, but there's a subtle difference that can look very different between ensuring and providing. You know, and so when we think about those kind of words, like, you know, are we ensuring something, or are we just giving it? Like, and are we making, you know, what's our responsibility
That's fine.
on those pieces?
For sure.
Do we feel comfortable starting with bullet 2 as part 1? How's that for
Actually,
picture?
mine can state one right
Should we throw ensuring into the second statement and take out providing?
It's up to you. I mean, we can do that now, we can do that later. Does that change the content for you, or the content?
I think it makes it stronger.
People agree, disagree?
Repeat again what he said.
So instead, the modified statement would say, our board is committed to ensuring outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, available, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students.
In the interest of making it concise, are there a couple of those that one may encompass another one, so that maybe we don't need every one of them?
Let's not edit until we get to all four.
Well,
All
I
four
thought that's
parts
what you were
together.
asking
And I'm gonna
us to
say,
do.
my answer is gonna say yes. Let's get through all 4 points, and I think you're gonna see some of these words
Okay.
pop up elsewhere. But that is a great insight in where I was hoping we would get to. Other thoughts before we tackle part 2?
As we come into to part 2, can we pull, you know, like Ken's idea of the partnership with families and communities to part 2, if it doesn't hit in section 1?
Yes, it's also in part 4.
Okay, it is.
So it might be, like, part 4 can be optional because it might show itself in part 2. So,
Okay.
all right, Ken says move along. Next slide. All right, so the second part of this now is the actions. But these are specific actions. These aren't like what classes will offer or personalized learning or proficiency based. These are our, the work you need to provide, the actions you need to provide to support that vision. And again, on the bottom left are some of the themes, just to remind you. On the right are some of the options.
Kind of a mishmash of the first 2.
So for the camera, I'm gonna read them aloud, correct? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Like, I also do the glasses thing, so thank you. Part 2 is by providing the shared resources, staffing, and systems necessary to ensure that all students will demonstrate academic proficiency. Ensuring sustainable resources, support, and development opportunities for educators/instructional leaders. By empowering schools and instructional leaders. By providing the shared resources, staffing, and systems necessary to ensure students will reach their personal educational goals. Yeah. Oh, you're saying 4, Joe? Joe, are you also?
Voting.
Voting for 4?
They're very different.
Your responses in this part were very different.
I don't think we can use the first one with that last part there. All students will demonstrate academic proficiency. I don't think you can make a statement like that.
What do other people think? Is that too bold?
That's our goal.
Demonstrate,
It's our vision.
Academic proficiency is defined on a per student basis in a lot of cases, isn't it?
Which is why I like number 4.
Yeah.
because it's personal
Right,
educational goals.
personal educational goals,
Yeah.
because that's really the way we're going, but.
I like the word sustainable though, somewhere in number 4. Sustainable resource, shared and sustainable.
Can you make sure you write that down, just in case it doesn't get captured, that if when we start talking about the communities we serve and the taxpayers, that sustainable part, which I think is what you're getting to. Shared resources and staffing and systems, I think, that came out in much of the work. I think that's really important, that you need to have that, it speaks to that broad idea of what we could look like as an SU, that we have flexibility there, or as a district within the SU.
I think 4 is fine if we know what we mean by personal educational goals.
And I agree with that. But again, I love the word empowering, and the more we can empower our students to reach those goals, and it's gonna take the third bullet and the second bullet to do it. I'm just saying,
I
you
like,
know.
yeah, I like number 3 because the implications there that if you empower the schools and instructional leaders, they can do all the rest.
I just made a note to change, to edit in, but I figured I'd save it till later, but to, you know, if we're using the 4th bullet, to then bring down, you know, shared resources, to provide the shared resources, the empowered staff and the systems necessary. Or somehow empower the staff in there too, because absolutely, you need your instructional leaders and your staff, you know, empowered to make those decisions and push things forward, and, you know, professional development is extremely important, and, you know, we want to build that in a little bit. But I didn't want to start going crazy until we got all 4 points out there.
And we are the ones that provide the support that the staff needs. We don't make the decisions necessarily, the day-to-day decisions, but we provide the support for those who do.
So I see all that in that last one still. Shared resources, shared staffing, and systems necessary. It's just a different way of wording it, that's all.
So I'm hearing some language that people want to make sure that they belong to this idea of empowering instructional leaders or teachers. If it's not reflected in our statement, that comes at some point. I do want to just put EQS in your heads and ESSA for a little bit too, and put that in your
I
heads.
can't take it out of my.
You can't pick it up? Good.
But
Your statement, one of the words that I really liked was demonstrate. Because I think that's when we really are starting to talk about what kids can show that they do. We're not just hoping that they can do it or that they'll reach it, but that they're able to demonstrate that in whatever way that is. Like proficiency-based or project-based or whatever. But that, my suggestion would be, if you're going with 4 and we're thinking about empowering, that we think about, instead of reaching, but how they can demonstrate.
So they can also demonstrate academic proficiency while reaching their personal educational goals. I mean, I again, it's all about empowering kids, and I agree with you. Demonstrate is a very powerful word, and I think we should be holding on to that. I'm fine with that, but I don't think you need to get rid of reaching personal education goals either.
It is empowering schools and leaders, and it's empowering everyone though, not just students.
I do like that.
Other thoughts? Did anyone have a chance to weigh in on this one? Keep it track. So I'm hearing number 4, but we want to think about that empowering piece and how that might fit into it. And then my 2 cents about demonstrating, if that makes sense in there, if that's strong enough language or not, come back. Okay. Bill, you have to capture some of this?
I had a grammatical question.
Yes, sir.
Is will, or is it is? Where are you? I guess
Are
it's.
you on one bullet 1 or bullet 4?
Well, I'm just. It's almost in
Both?
general, you know. Well, it's bullet 4 about will, but they
Right.
do demonstrate, right? If this is the vision, and
If
we're
we're-
seeing the vision.
Yeah, if we're ensuring it.
So what I like is are able to, as opposed to will.
Because will sounds like
Are able to.
we're hoping. I'll write down. That was
So,
grammatical.
will, to
Sounds
ensure
very
that
specific.
students reach and leave will out.
Can is vague, will is they will.
They will.
Just take will, ensure students reach
Do we,
Yeah.
which do we want?
To ensure
Good point.
students reach their personal,
Reach
yeah,
and-
without the will.
So the suggested edit is to take out the word will between students and reach.
Or you could put demonstrate in there. Ensure students demonstrate their personal education. Demonstrate that they've reached, no, never mind, I'm talking out
Well,
loud.
we did talk about adding,
Demonstrate
demonstrate
somewhere.
academic
I did
proficiency
write down
into
demonstrate and
both.
sustainable, so. I'll make that, I've got the language down for this, and we can,
Yeah, we'll put it after.
we can parse it.
The only other thing that fit there was, is we looked at some of our other things, but bullet 3, by empowering schools, instructional leaders, and the community, to open it up, that we're constantly looking, having that open door of that whole community approach and including everybody. I'm not sure community would go there, but I was just,
And mine, and then we won't have to add it later. Can I ask, since these were my words, personal educational goals, does that speak too much to personalized education and be more high school based? Are we narrowing ourselves a little bit?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
So if you say individual, you're gonna, IEP, special ed comes to
Yeah,
place.
Yeah.
so what's wrong with just saying reach their educational goals?
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
What do people think?
I mean, it's still. It's hard for me to do that in high school.
That was where I was, yeah. And I mean, a first graders, or kindergartners, probably.
No, it's the first year of the goal.
Yeah, I think like, well, I'm like, now I'm going back to, maybe academic proficiency is.
Just the first. I'm thinking about pre-K.
Joe, you have a,
Might get a thought.
I don't
What
know.
about educational potential instead of goals, right? Because that's each one getting to their personal best potential.
Nancy disagrees.
Okay.
No,
She's
it-
trying, I'm trying to.
It
She's trying to
does
phrase it.
for me,
It's a lot
because, you don't always know what that is. But you know what the goals are.
So we're not talking about in that sentence, we're not talking about our goals as a school district, we're talking about students' goals. And I think that was a good point, but, this is a pre-K-12 education system.
I think the idea of potential is really, it's the charged word emotionally to be positive. But I would never want us to do anything where we lower, I don't ever want to be the person as a classroom teacher that I decide what a student's potential is too. So it's
Well,
always that
right.
weird language of and that's why I said, this is really, you can get so technical in the words, but it's really important that you think about all those pieces,
Right, well, and in that context, it's the student's personal educational potential is what I was thinking.
yes, am I allowed to?
Yeah, because I can't see it.
I was like,
I'm like, I'm gonna be doing this and I'm gonna be seasick.
Okay, yes, sir.
Just as a blast from the past, when I was in school, I had no goals. So you're talking about their personal educational goals, and to me, that's just like, because how many of your students are really going to know what their real goal is? I mean, they could want to snowboard for a living.
Doesn't have to be
So-
specific, doesn't have to
I have an
say
8-year-old who says he wants to go to MIT already, so there's a goal and a potential.
So I think that's the point of this, right? So that when we're trying to capture this language, we're looking at what can we say that shows our vision of our passion, our beliefs of where we believe students can go, that brings in your kid and maybe
Me.
goes with me, you're the younger, a pre-K and a 12th grader. Like, so what statement will help us with that?
To reach their educational goals.
Okay, well, we've got notes on this one, we can go on
You
to
ready?
point 3.
Yeah, I've got this one.
And
Yep.
then come
I saw
back
a lot
and
of
start
thinking.
tweaking.
Okay.
By continuous challenging, you have to challenge a student.
Yes.
And goals can change throughout a child's career. Throughout an adult's career.
All of your pre-K goals are different than grade 10 goals, but, okay, so breaking up the vision statement, part 3, where or how this action is happening speaks to our school and community environment. So Ken, this is getting to what, how it happens, the community piece. Again, students' outcomes at your center, thinking about what your student's life will look like. I heard responsive to taxpayers in many of your pieces. Flexible and responsive to community needs, open to new ideas and thinking. So those were the pieces, and I'll let you take a second to look at some of the possible statements. And I'll read them aloud.
I like number 3 because it's the mini communities. A lot of students will not always remain in this one community.
And again, we're thinking about the ideal. The ideal of where they end up. Yep. So part 3, I do read aloud. The board in a world-class learning environment that is responsive to the needs of our communities, responsible to the many communities to which we belong, to which we represent, to either one, in a safe and welcoming environment where all community members, students, and families experience the value of the education offered. I think it might be helpful, Bill, if you could read part 1 and 2,
Yep. Guys ready?
so it flows a little bit. It'll be a little.
The West River Education District is committed to ensuring outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, available, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students by providing shared resources, staffing, and systems necessary to empower students to reach their personal educational goals.
So it's going to be a little clunky. That's okay. We can.
I like number 4.
I love seeing.
After goals, can you put and beyond?
I'm sorry, I missed.
After goals, in that statement so far, and beyond? Because once you get to that, all right, this is my goal, I'm here, you should be able to push that even further once the goal is met. Because if somebody meets their, goal in 3 years of high school, that whole year is like, okay, well, I did everything I need to do, I got my credits, I can graduate. You can still push that, you know what I mean, push that envelope just a little further, so that they can upgrade that potential to, okay, I made my goal, now what can I add to that goal?
So it makes me wonder, are we limiting students by saying, are we limiting?
That's what I'm worried about, is we're saying, okay, your goal is to get enough credits to graduate high school. You can do that in 3.5 years, and you do that, and then what do you do for your last year? Just, stay home? I mean, there's a lot of opportunities, there's early college classes, there's,
And those are part of the goals that the board, that's
Right,
part of the high
that's-
school piece might be looking at.
but I think that
pieces.
we should show that in the statement, that we're not just gonna stop, when a goal is met. It's like the IEPs, the way the IEPs are written always make me laugh. It's a student's gonna be 40% proficient by March in whatever area. When it should say, it's saying, okay, so what do you do when you reach that 40%? Obviously, we push on, but the statement in the IEP says by March, you have to be 40%. That's our goal, right? Or the goal should be to increase by 30% or more by March. You see what I'm saying? It's because it like limits it when they use that language.
One of the things that I wrote down, that I don't know if this is along the lines you were thinking, but to develop practices that lead to lifelong learners to continue to pursue.
So I think the lifelong learning piece might come up in 3 and 4.
Okay.
I think the intention of part 2 was really the academic piece, and thinking about the EQS as a kind of standards. But I want to make sure, I think Bill's probably typing this down, about Ken's
Yep.
concern about personal goals narrowing
Yep.
our focus a little bit before we get to the action piece that I heard anyway. If you want to share, please.
So I'm wondering if you can give the personal education plans, if you could, or the goals, if you could switch out the word education and make it learning. Because I haven't heard anyone talk about the importance of developing like that call to citizenship. And not all goals have to be like academic based. They can be like, what am I going to do to be a better human? How am I going to reconnect with my community? So I'm curious if this might be a place where you can talk about, within this safe and welcoming environment, if we can also assist our students in developing those personalized learning goals that encompass all those aspects of, like the holistic experience of being a kid.
Suggestion when we come, if we
Got
go
it.
back further, I love this, so we can go back and think about if we want to look at that language to say learning goals versus educational goals, is also suggested. And when we get to part 4, it is about that global citizenship. Thoughts on part 3?
I want to think the beginning of part 2. So in a safe and welcoming environment, and then jump to bullet point 2 that's responsive to the needs of the communities.
What does that mean? The needs of our community?
I think that
I didn't write that, I'm curious about what that.
Can you guys speak up a little bit?
Talk loud.
Sorry, you're back to.
We want to hear you.
I'm curious about what it means when it says is responsive to the needs of our communities.
So, that's not my statement, but.
I know, that's why
what I
I'm
read through
asking
it-
that.
Oh, cool, so what I read through that was that I saw a lot about taxpayers, and I saw a lot about fiscal needs of our communities. I also saw some things about equity, that there is a belief, and we refer to that in the shared resources, but that our communities need different things, and that there's not necessarily equitable amongst those communities. So that statement, I believe, is about the financial responsibilities to what different communities need, and the equitable services to what they need, what those communities each need, or your school districts each need, now that you are unified together. But if someone here, if that statement came from them and they're comfortable, it might be instead of Jen's interpretation of. So if you're a school district or a school board that's responsive to the needs of our communities, if they're coming to you and saying, this budget's too high, we need to put it down. If they're saying we need a bus, or we need an art program, or we need Spanish.
So I'll explain to you why I'm stumbling on this, why I'm struggling with it, is because I don't see us, when we are a fully unified school district, I don't see us as separate communities, and maybe that's because I've been really married for so many years, but to me, our communities are one after this. And I, you know, I have a really hard time thinking about it in any other way. So that's why I'm struggling with that statement.
Could that not mean though, this community, the community in the state as a whole?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe?
not the separate towns that are represented here, but the different larger communities of
It would
which
have to be,
they're part.
because I can't think of us as separate towns. In one.
I don't know, if I read that, it sounds more like it's like what the board members should be doing, you know what I mean? I'm a representative from Newfane, you're a representative, you're from, and the people from Brookline turn around and say, well, we need more music time. We gotta have more music in the schools, let's just say, you know, and so it,
So you're talking collective communities then?
Right.
And I'm fine with them all together, but I would hope we're thinking about, as a single board, I hope we're thinking about, you know, that we have different schools,
Right.
there's no question, but they're all one community, you know, I think is the way I'm looking at it.
Number 4 defines those different, the
And I will agree with,
stakeholders.
I will agree with Emily that we are representing all the communities because we want this district to act and be equitable, which I hate the word equitable, but as equal as possible, for all the students. You know what I mean? So I agree with that when you say that,
That's an
We're
easy
gonna-
edit.
right,
You just say that's responsive to the needs of our community. And then you explain that we're exactly, we are the community, we're not drawing those lines. And that it's meant to be inclusive, and it's meant to define that.
so why not just cross out number 3 and don't use it?
I like number 4.
Since we're spending on so much time tearing it apart,
We're actually talking about part of number
I was
4 and part of
actually
number 2.
Talking about number
I think
4.
Emily brings up a really good point, though, that it's that power of language.
Right.
So by just making it plural, is that more divisive than
Yes,
saying
Yeah,
community?
to me it is.
yes, I
So
see that.
we need to be careful about that, so that's a great insight.
How about it's number 2 with the word safe in there? That is a safe and responsive to the needs. No.
Just choose number 4.
Well, if we say in a safe and welcoming environment that is responsive to the needs of our community.
Right, there you go, that works.
We're up to 3 paragraphs.
Three
She's doing 4.
sentences.
She's doing 4.
That's what happens
I-
when you have
I-
a
We
collective
can push that out.
vision.
Because I think we've used the word empower twice, 3 times maybe, and ensure, and.
Then they'll get the point right in time.
Right.
Empower.
We can
So-
edit.
So what, I'm sorry, please.
In number 4, I think the experiencing the value of the education offered, all of these people we're hoping will be part of it instead of just being parents who throw their kids on the bus at the beginning of the day and then their kids come home, and it's hoping that that the community members and everybody experiences the education with the child. And that's how we'll succeed if we get everybody involved, that's how we'll be successful.
What do you think if we substituted in a world-class learning environment instead of environment community? A world-class learning community?
Where?
In the top one.
First one.
I mean, when you're saying world-class, that it kind of implies a lot of the other things that are stated below that.
I still think we should use the
Or
word
it's
safe.
safe and welcoming.
Yep.
It's warm and fuzzy.
World-class,
I think safe is so
world-class
important right now.
education
Yeah.
is used by everybody as, that's what, they want a world-class. You know, everybody,
We do.
we
Yeah.
do,
And you might be able to say
but can't we
this
phrase it differently?
by saying safe and welcoming learning environment or learning community, a safe and welcoming learning community. You might be saying through the word welcoming, you're encompassing that all these students and families would feel good about that. And then you could write a separate goal that may deal with how you bring in your communities and have parents be more active
Safe
as a
and welcoming.
friendly and gentle.
So in the environment we're in today,
Yes.
I'm gonna really fight for that safe and welcoming
Yeah.
environment. And the reason I'm gonna fight for it is because I think safe, we all know why we need to say that. And welcoming, because we have, we may not be experiencing an awful lot of diversity in our 5 towns, but we darn well better be welcoming it. And so I really want, I would love to see a safe and welcoming whatever.
Welcoming connotes equity and.
So the friendly amendment I added was in a safe and
Yeah.
welcoming learning
Yeah,
environment.
that's fine with me.
Is that?
I just don't wanna lose the safe
I
and
like
How
welcoming.
about making it, how about to make
And then in there
everybody
somewhere.
happy? To make everybody happy. Make it a safe and welcoming, world-class Learning.
You just made Al mad though, you added more words.
Well, he's got his choice. We could either put world class in or take 2 words out. I mean,
Do I hear a hyphen? Do I hear a hyphen?
Right.
On the spot now, Al, look at that.
So I'm gonna say.
or in brackets. And more punctuation.
All right, in a safe and welcoming learning environment or safe and welcoming learning community, are those the 2 things that I'm hearing?
I think the word community needs to be in the statement somewhere, and that could be a good place for it.
All right, I've captured your conversation. Go to number 4.
Wow, it's
I
like
like
voice
it.
from above.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna come
Bill,
back.
you're doing my job. Moving on.
All right, let's look at part 4.
Next slide, Bill.
No,
Sorry.
no more words. But
We can't move it along without you, Bill.
All right, this is the bigger picture part. And I'll read the statements on the right, and you can look at some of the things that came out as your themes that talked about productive members in that bigger picture of our students and their world. Our board would, students become lifelong learners with a thirst for knowledge. Sorry. Productive members of society, able to function in a global community. In order for our students to be thoughtful and productive members of their communities / society, community of young adults able to contribute to and succeed in a global arena.
I like number 1. With the the productive members of society is always good. We do like to see that.
Could lifelong learners and with a thirst for knowledge be kind of redundant? If we say they become lifelong learners.
It's implied that they would have a thirst for knowledge.
Yes.
We hope, yeah.
Yeah.
In order for our students to be thoughtful, lifelong learners and productive members of their communities and society, if you took it in that one, you could do number 3.
I would take number 3 and say functioning in a global community.
Instead
Yeah, like
of
the global.
productive members of society.
No, instead of able, just functioning.
Yeah, I like the global.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And really, to function in a global community now, you have to be constantly learning.
Google Docs.
Believe it or not, there's something outside the US, right?
So,
Global.
Just to function in the US, you have to learn constantly.
So I'm hearing lifelong learners, and I'm also thinking global community and function. Other words are things like contribute.
Yeah, you want to draw them into being school board members someday.
We want to contribute.
well, we want them to be actually voters, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
The whole, this seems like the area where we should be talking about really engaged members of society. I really do.
Citizens.
Yeah, citizenship, well, really, it's something that I think we certainly need to be focusing on.
How about
That they are-
productive global citizens?
I like the contribute to and succeed in a global arena better than just be productive members of the community.
Throw the word active community members in there.
I like engaged.
Better than just functioning in a global.
Engage global
Well,
citizens.
to me, engaged means that they are active, you know?
Engage global citizens.
So, from the audience, the
Yeah,
suggestion
I
was
just wrote
informed.
down informed.
Informed is pretty important, that's what our job is here. Help inform.
I hear you, I'm gonna let you keep thinking this through. I hear things about that whole student, right? That they're beyond just the academic piece, but these are students we want to be lifelong learners, that they constantly want to learn. We want them to contribute to our society, and we want them to be successful, I guess, and able to compete.
Successful,
And
more
So
productive.
instead of thoughtful,
Productive.
productive members
They get
of
on
the communities and society, we make them informed and engaged members of their community society, and it could be the global community.
Yeah.
So we take 4 and make it twist it around with some of the new words.
Informed
Well-
and engaged global citizens.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what. Al's just turning it into the person as opposed to the system, which I think is appropriate.
Right.
That should be the answer.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Can I hear a suggestion?
He's got one.
Okay.
What do you got, Al?
Informed and engaged global citizens.
So the whole 4th part of the state, the whole 4th
Kind of ties in.
bullet
with
part of
three,
the
right? So-
statement would be then just that? Like, how does it flow in? Well, let's put it
We'll
all
worry
together
about
and
the
figure out how it
flow
flows in.
later.
Yeah.
I've captured
Informed and
it.
engaged global citizens? Okay. Thoughts? 2 thumbs up?
Those kids down the
See, we're
floor.
hearing it from the front, the back,
Right?
the sides.
Yeah, they
All
are.
right.
Got it.
I don't even know something.
So.
All right.
So what do we got for a whole vision, Bill?
So,
Do you want me to
Yes,
share this with
Jen?
you so you
Yep.
can now drive?
then I will,
I'm sorry, you're driving.
no, I
I
like sharing.
If you
Sharing.
do it, we will.
Okay.
You want to read loud? And I'm going to type on you.
I will read it aloud.
All right. You guys ready?
It's not a beautiful wordsmith. The West River Education District is committed to ensuring outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, available, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students by providing shared resources, staffing, and systems necessary to empower students to reach their personal educational goals in a safe and welcoming, world-class community that is responsible to the needs of our community to create informed and engaged global citizens.
I love it. He lost me after the first
Jen, all the
20 words.
The bold
Yeah, it's just.
is what they said, and the blue were their conversation.
Okay, I don't have that in front of me, Bill. You have your.
I just shared it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
You have to.
Perfect.
kind of-
Google
Docs, baby.
What you just read had the plugged in words.
Yeah. and-
Additional
What I read
directions.
was
Rattle off.
what you guys manipulated on
Just one
the
person,
plugged in words, yes.
Say that again?
What I just read is the right-hand side, your discussions of that right-hand side, and your semi-consensus on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And then you'll see in between each one are different blue words that you guys had a discussion about. I think it'll make sense. once
And
you see it.
momentarily it will be on the screen.
It will. Would you like me to read it again?
No.
Slower.
No, because it's gonna be up there. I'm trying to write it down.
I think if you want to go back to in your packet, remember when we talked about those initial
Yeah.
Oh, slide
emerging
4.
themes on
Yeah.
slide 4?
Ah, yes, students at the center of it as a priority. I think we got that covered right off the bat. I'd like to see the whole thing to make sure.
Sustainable and demonstrated
So
there and
you captured
proficiency.
mine.
I'm gonna make every word.
Once we have,
There we go. Sustainable efficiency demonstrated.
So the blue was kind of your conversation, the dark is what you guys were agreeing to.
so right now we've agreed that West River Education District is committed to ensuring outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, available, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students by providing shared resources, staffing, and systems necessary to ensure or possibly empower
That students.
ensure students will reach their personal educational goals.
Can I kill Will now? We agreed on that?
Yeah, get rid
Yeah,
of
Will is
well.
gone.
Yeah.
And
Well,
can
we-
we take out personal?
Yeah, we did something different with that.
We did,
We took out personal
we did
and we,
learning.
We changed it to
something,
learning, and we
goals.
changed it to learning goals.
Nice, look at Jen. And are you guys good with empower there? Because I mean, getting rid of empower and going with
Yes.
ensure, you had that discussion, but I just wanted to capture that.
Do you want empower over ensure? Because you say ensure in
No.
the first statement.
Oh,
We say empower in the first
too.
statement too.
All right.
We gotta
Must
get,
mean
we
it.
have too many words up in the first, anyway. Let's get rid of available.
I think available is implied when you talk about equity.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think we need
Yeah,
available.
empower can go, because it's up there.
Same. Equitable.
What about assure
So-
as opposed to ensure that we are in business and
So assure instead of ensure?
Yeah,
That is good.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the difference in the language.
I'm a history teacher.
So the nuance of, so just the nuance of language is assure is more appeasing, whereas ensure means you're responsible for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Pretty sure we wanna be.
Would it,
sure I want to assure, ensure.
could I mess you up a little bit by combining 1 and 2 so you see it as one statement?
Yes.
Sure.
That'll make you happy.
Don't watch this a little bit of a roller coaster.
Well, eventually it's all gonna be together into one statement, and it's gonna be 2, maybe 3 sentences.
I think that's the goal.
2 lines? We'd have to chop out a lot of, I mean,
I don't
it's
think
good.
we need to in the.
I don't think we can get 2 lines out.
It's a good goal.
Sorry, I'm trying to make it so.
What about getting rid of the ensuring at the top? It's committed to outstanding educational opportunities.
Is it redundant?
Equitable and
Yeah.
power,
Yeah, very
because then you can have your ensure.
good implied.
Yeah, we're committed to outstanding educational opportunities.
Providing.
Well, and we could really go crazy and say that we're committed to equitable, empowering, engaging, outstanding educational
Well,
opportunities
we
that are
could say,
personalized.
we're committed to providing outstanding educational opportunities that are.
Yeah.
I just said put it, and providing.
Provide,
And provide.
is committed to providing
We should have verb in there.
outstanding. Sure. Yeah, we can now leave it
I
sure.
think providing sounds better in there.
Now you can take out assure and empower down below because ensure fits. I think.
So you want to say provide?
Try.
So providing is not as strong as word as ensuring when you're thinking about what you're.
No, it isn't, but it's not offering.
Why can't you just say WRED ensures outstanding educational opportunities?
Yeah, I agree, I don't like that is committed to. Will provide.
Will provide.
We do too.
That's so weak.
Or will
Yeah.
ensure.
Will provide is
Will.
Yeah.
Will
Will
provide.
is like
Will,
that.
I will provide. I feel like it's got
Yeah, I see will as.
Song.
as-
Oh, no, it's I will survive.
So I don't know.
And again,
No,
See,
but
will
will
is
is
though.
must versus
That's
shall.
right.
or
How about
may.
shall? Shall provide.
Okay,
I
shall.
can promise you shall is
Give me some
an
shall.
absolute. We use
Yeah.
it all the time
It's
in reading
legal
laws.
terms.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's may or shall.
Well, and see, I see will more as shall than may.
Me too.
So I'm gonna wordsmith a little bit here too. So providing is weaker than ensuring. You're a school board, so you're not actually the ones delivering the instruction. So your job as a board is to make sure your instructional leaders are doing the work.
I thought we were getting rid of all that and saying is ensure, will ensure, or is, shall ensure outstanding. What did you say?
It does say
We're
that,
getting rid of.
providing
is
shared
committed to,
resources, staffing, and systems necessary to ensure students reach their learning goals.
Yeah, and if we have the providing, if we're providing the resources, we shouldn't be providing outstanding educational, we should, yeah, that should go up there.
So I think providing is probably the wrong word for.
Yep.
It's
And now we're
legal.
not like you was committed to.
I don't
We
like
got
Backspace,
committed, that's
backspace.
strong.
Keep those things.
What we stand for.
That's what your answer, that's your
That's what we're trying to say.
We
What are you?
stand for outstanding educational opportunities.
Just take out committed to. West River Education District is outstanding education.
W red stands for outstanding educational opportunities.
And you can say believe, but that's a weaker verbiage.
No, we want the
Then we'll
strongest
provide.
possible. I've been sure.
Can use, okay, use ensure up above, ensure, and then staffing and systems necessary to,
Just do, shall provide outstanding educational
assist
opportunities.
students reach.
I like propose stands for,
Let's get some
red
crunch.
stands for.
Have a different
Is
word
committed
than
to
ensure on
to
the
be
bottom,
done.
on the last part.
Is committed to, is weaker than.
Will.
Or shall. Yeah, it does, it sounds trivial, I don't like it at all.
I
I
like
want to get rid of
stands
this.
No, I'm with you.
So I'm hearing maybe committed to is the wrong way to start this statement.
Yeah, it's weak. What are those things?
So when you think about your ideals, what is it that you believe we're gonna do? Are you gonna ensure it? Are you going to promote it? Are you going to
Shall provide.
Stand for it.
Just
stand for it?
take is committed to out
Builds,
and shall provide.
builds.
With a disclaimer to the best of the ability. No.
Is there a different word can we use ensures up top, WRED, ensures outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, blah, blah, blah. And then try to come up with a different word than ensure.
To empower students to reach their learning goals. You mean, instead of ensure, usher, empower, use empower there?
Empower already up above though.
Oh, yeah, we are.
What is the problem with providing up in the first part of it?
We're providing later on, and the teachers are kind of, are
So I
we're
think,
handing out that piece.
yeah, we moved away a little bit from providing in part because one, this is your like bold statement that you're gonna make, so you're not just giving something, you're ensuring, you are making certain that your job as a school board is to make sure that our instructional leaders and our teachers are doing this. And they're gonna provide, you're committed to making sure this happens. It's your commitment to the community.
Can you say guarantees? Because that is a pretty holy word. Like the WRED, guarantees.
That,
Builds.
legal counsel on guarantees, a little bit. But
That's a
it's
little
the
too
same
much
thing.
liability involved in that one.
Builds stands for
Yeah, I know. Okay, sign right here.
delivers. Delivers, what else could you throw there?
Why do you feel you need another word in there as opposed to just as committed to outstanding educational opportunities? Because that's a pretty strong statement saying that you are committed to something.
Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's committed to
That's a strong statement.
And I think, so,
Dedicated.
mess you up.
It's another word.
I do think when I
It
hear,
doesn't say
when I hear a
will.
couple board members say like, I heard you say, I hate the word committed to, then we really need to think about that. Like, so it's, we often talk about like a fist of five, like 5 means you're totally for it. And you can live with a 4, 3, or 2. But if you put your fist up, you're like, no, absolutely not, then we don't move on. Like, that's a no. If you're like, I absolutely hate the word committed, then we're gonna fist stop. And then we're gonna think about a different word. If you can live with it, other people's really loved it, then we can brainstorm.
Can I just make a
Absolutely.
The reason is committed to me, is much weaker than will ensure. Much weaker. And to me, that's my personal perspective. And so that's why I'm having a hard time with that. We're committed to it, but that doesn't ensure that we're going to provide it. We're committed to it. And so that's the reason I'm having a struggle with that.
So I would suggest, from my perspective, take it what it's worth, I would put the ensure at the top, and I'd find a different word at the bottom. Because I think this is your very duty. you're holding all of us accountable to the work we said we're gonna do in our schools, and the goals we're gonna do.
How about dedicated? We're dedicated to.
You're dedicated to it, but you're not making me do it.
That's the same thing.
So now it would be just, instead of is committed to, it would say will ensure outstanding educational opportunities that are
Ensures.
equitable, empowering, engaging, personalized, da, 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 da. And instead of necessary to ensure, we would switch that. Is what
Did
you're
you
thinking.
mention wedding vows?
I did.
Necessary for students
Till
to
death do
reach
you
their
part.
learning goals.
Success in here anymore either.
How about will provide?
Sorry, I had a thought, so where did you want provide?
We've got providing our.
Right on top, instead of is committed, will provide outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, empowering, engaging, and personalized. I can't do that in one breath.
What are you gonna do with the providing shared resources then? Because you got provided there twice then.
We're providers, that's what we do. We provide.
Try taking it out so it says will ensure, and then move on and see if we can wordsmith it, because we can always go backwards.
Yes.
So one of the things I was thinking is, so if it said, the board will ensure outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students by providing shared resources, staffing, and systems. Providing the necessary shared resources, staffing, and systems, period. And you move your students reach their learning goals into the next
Yeah, that
piece.
works for me.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, read it.
Okay, I think we're moving away from the committed word. Am I correct, Jen?
Yep, get rid of is committed to and say will ensure.
Will ensure outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students by providing the necessary shared resources, staffing, and systems.
And you could put provide up top and then take out providing down below. And
And then,
wordsmith that a little too if you want,
and then hit return.
if you don't like ensure.
Please. You just lost this.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, so you're good. Maybe that leaves us a little something. So if we move, Bill, can you move us back up so we can see the next section?
Sharing resources that you don't have to put by providing.
So what if we continued this sentence from what we have, ensure outstanding educational opportunities that are equitable, empowering, engaging, and personalized to all students by providing the necessary shared resources, staffing, and systems, and a safe and welcoming blah, blah, blah environment that we put in goals somewhere there.
Can somebody tell me what a necessary shared resource is? I'd like to know.
Versus a shared resource.
Yeah. Versus a shared resource, what's the difference if
Okay.
it's necessary or not?
You're right,
Doesn't have to be
She
necessary.
just pulled it out from below, that's.
you're right, that changes the context of it, though, Ken, that's a great point.
Right,
Because
so
we're
take out-
saying, by providing the sources that are necessary is different than saying a necessary resource.
It is.
Yeah.
So remove necessary.
So,
Can we just say shared resources, staffing, and
Yes.
systems?
Yes, that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
that's what we want to do.
It's delays, it's delays. I'm going to.
You're doing a good job, Bill. Good job.
Yes, do.
Trying, man.
Sorry, it's slow when I go through.
There you go, it's done.
I love that.
Is that nice?
There's no time to do that. I haven't even had time to use it.
Short and sweet, that's what we're about.
You're about to get your wish out, we're gonna make it two sentences.
I'm all into it. I'm into it.
Well, this is where we gotta get the community.
Right.
And
Yeah, I had a question about that part too.
Empowering students.
Community and
About what, the
families, and
culture of
families is a
learning
strong
too?
word.
Like in that whole resources, staffing, and systems, it almost feels like culture should kind of be in there somehow.
Culture, community,
Sorry.
and families, we kind of, those are areas that don't really seem represented well.
Right, and the families definitely.
In a safe and welcoming, world-class learning environment, I think is better. That is responsible to the needs.
So if we can do this in 2 sentences, we can say the first sentence here is what we are we are trying to provide, right? And
We will provide.
we will provide, there you go, or we will ensure, right? Okay. What we are going to offer, and then to whom we're going to offer it, and what the outcomes are gonna be. In the next part, right?
Where,
If you're
where is the
categorizing the
next?
flow. That is
Well,
responsible to the needs of our community and families.
no, if we take,
Families are our communities, are part of our community.
We are.
Families are.
in a safe, welcoming, world-class community or learning environment, we will ensure students reach their learning goals. But I'd like to go, see, I don't like that, will ensure they reach their learning goals.
So that's probably, that was from part one.
Is that
I
where we could-
wordsmithed it, but I didn't want to delete it.
Right.
So are people feeling like they could get rid of the reach their learning goals, or does that lose?
Is that a place to put in developing lifelong learners? Or there's a couple things I scribbled down that didn't seem to, that people talked about that didn't seem to get in there. Lifelong learning, citizenship, families, community, and culture didn't seem to be too, and informed. Where was the informed?
We still want to
There-
add
oh,
in.
still there.
Yeah,
Okay, I see
we just
that.
haven't quite gotten there yet. I can move the blue down a little bit, maybe, and that will help. It's
Joe
gonna,
just had something, coming back from it.
Go back up again.
I'm sorry, this is because I'm on the screen.
Okay,
Apologies.
so. Sure.
Can I create the whole- Can I create the whole statement?
To produce.
So that students reach their learning goals?
Hold on now.
All right.
To develop, to produce, to. So the next thing you say is to create or to produce or to develop or to whatever, informed and engaged global citizens.
And I can share.
Right.
I created a working document.
Can anyone identify where we're stuck for them, where you're getting stuck?
Aren't we stuck trying to incorporate the middle thought? Necessary to assure, empower students reaching their learning goals.
So we're stuck, and that's one piece where we're stuck, that we're figuring out how to get our learning
I'm
goals.
stuck with that because I think it should go beyond and beyond. Because you can't just say they reach their goals and you stop. You can't stop once you reach a goal. You have to push on.
Thank you for bringing that back up again, because I did ask you to do just
This
that.
whole thing isn't gonna be one sentence, right?
No.
I hope.
Al's working on that
English
right
teacher
now.
knows that, like,
There it is.
Well, and to go beyond that, you can say, somehow students have to reach their learning goals, and become informed and engaged global citizens, which sort of speaks to going on. When we took things from 2 bullet points, 2 and 3, and put them up in
Yeah.
1, and now we're stuck on
now we're stuck.
transitioning to like
Yeah.
what we've missed and putting it all into
What
another
Al just
sentence or
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
That's where I'm
Correct.
stuck. I ran out of words here to make a transition.
so what you have so far is what you plan to do, and basically where you plan to do it. but you haven't talked about what you see as the outcome, meaning your students and your communities. Four parts.
Well, they have to we wanted to talk about demonstrating academic proficiency, that's a measurable
That is measurable.
thing, and it's an outcome.
It sounded like the board was really between academic proficiency, but also being comfortable with reaching their learning goals. Like those were the two that I saw as kind of competing a little bit about.
I like academic proficiency if it's a choice.
What do other people think? We're back on the table with academic proficiency.
Aren't we shooting for more than academic
Yeah, there's
proficiency?
more than academic.
I would think that would be covered in lifelong learners.
I was gonna go back
Right.
to my thought, I was repeating myself too much.
Our students that all leave our system after they spent 13 years trying to reach academic proficiency. I don't know if we need it in this statement. I want them to. Hopefully.
Well, I think if we put in lifelong learners, that's better than just academic proficiency.
Or active and engaged learners.
Didn't we have something a
Yeah,
little
but
bit
we
ago?
Yeah, I thought we had.
I think we've kind of had it all at one point. Yes, Bill, go for it.
I have just been emailed the River Valleys agreed upon.
Sure.
I'm gonna copy that.
Should we take a peek?
I just think it's a model that would validate a lot of the work you guys just did. Would you like to see it?
Sure.
Won't muddy
Didn't
the
share with me.
waters.
It will not muddy the waters, otherwise I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
All right, you see Al's suggestion down at the bottom there?
Is it
Bottom
here?
of what?
This one? Did
No,
you make
I'm
a
putting-
copy
I'm
of
putting
it?
it on the live doc.
Apologies. Back here.
In green. There you go.
You see Al's?
It's not the good mission statement.
What's that? So,
Did you get saved again? No.
sorry.
Pretty well there.
I was listening.
I had them all written down.
You guys are all on the same themes as my,
Yeah.
all right? Let me take it away, I just wanted you to.
Well, I like high quality. Don't take it away yet.
It's got the climate and culture in there by parents and community, family.
Creating, take out two, creating informed and engaged.
We're going back to yours, I'm just sure.
That one
Oh,
finalized,
no,
Bill?
the green, Al's green.
That's what they just voted on.
Is it access to equitable? Not the best use of which.
No, but for another.
Well, that's good.
Both go around.
In Al's
They're two
I mean,
different
they are
They'll
two
send it
different
through
things,
to
two
the
things, yeah.
All right, so Al's comes back to what we talked about in the beginning, and we looked at that first bullet, but what I heard from the board is that you really wanted all these adjectives in here.
Really?
Yep. So if we go back, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
They don't wash out.
empowering,
We love the way-
engaged,
right?
and, you know, we
Um,
wanted it equitable, engaging, empowering, personalized.
So how about to create informed, empowered, and engaged schools?
Now see, you really are using my words, and this was before it even came up. I love it.
I think we need the piece about shared resources, staffing and systems, or something like that, because that was a theme that I saw, sorry, Al.
No.
But I did see it in the different pieces of what everything, like, I love the brevity of it, but I think that there's the piece of shared resources that should come out.
So
Yeah.
the thing that I would ask you, as I stated in the beginning, there's gonna be a build out from this, right? So we have a vision, and then we're gonna build out from that. It all kind of filters out to things like
Writing goals.
continuous improvement plan, all
Absolutely.
of that, right? So, you know, like I saw in the one that I kind of modeled this off of, it was the simplicity of the statement, and then everything from that built out and rolled to, like, you probably, I don't know if you saw it, but
I
they
have
had.
it, yeah.
Yeah, so they, on the top of the continuous improvement plan, whatever they call it, was everything right here. Everything that we believe in terms of the vision statement, flowed through, so that it was just systematically built into the belief system of that school district.
So you're saying that's the whole vision?
And
And then build out from there, like,
the goal
Here-
sheet and things.
Well, what if there was a second piece to yours, Al? Use yours as the first piece, which really does do just about everything. And then to add some of what we have by providing shared resources, staffing and systems.
I heard empower and engaged were big ones, and equitable, I heard.
You know,
Like,
to provide, you know, by providing the shared resources, empowered staff and systems to you know, to allow to something, you know, to get the students to reach their learning goals, and become, you know, become lifelong learners, something like that. Work in a second sentence that picks up some of that other stuff that talks about a little bit more about how we're gonna do it. I mean, this is a good
So-
vision.
So I don't like the lifelong learner piece. I feel like creating informed, empowered, and engaged global citizens are people who are lifelong learners. I'm just adding my word back in.
Yeah, there's not empowered in there.
I
It's
know,
just informed and
that's because I've
engaged.
had it written down forever. I want empowered
No, no,
and
it's
engaged
it's a
global
great word,
citizens.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
you're right.
I do think you're changing the context, which is great, because this would have been my feedback, but we got stuck. That first part is about what you're giving, like, so you're empowering and you're doing that, that's the act of giving, whereas what you really want is the students to have that, right? So what we've done by changing, what Al's done by changing the sentence, you're creating informed, empowered, and engaged citizens. We're not just giving them the power. Like, your action comes with an outcome. So I like the idea of starting with, like, we're gonna do this thing because our students are our focus. And then I agree with Joe's suggestion to go to, now, let's talk about how we do it. Like
More specifics.
and it only has to be one sentence. It
It
can
should
be,
only be one sentence.
right, so create informed, empowered, and engaged global citizens.
Yeah.
By providing
Shared resources.
staffing and
Staffing and
systems
systems.
Through
to support students in achieving their learning goals, we're back to necessary, right? So by providing shared resources, staffing and systems necessary to ensure students reach their learning goals.
And beyond. You gotta,
And
you
beyond.
can't just stop if they meet their goals.
How do
You
people-
gotta push that.
My goal was to tie my shoes this morning, leave me alone.
And beyond.
Informed,
Oh, you
empowered,
did
and
work.
engaged global citizens is beyond.
At the top there,
Okay,
That's the beyond piece.
because you wanted to add to that.
I do, informed.
We're already
Oh, I
saying
forgot that.
we create
I
informed.
I want to,
That's
I
probably
want
the
to
most
believe you're
important word on
empowered.
that.
What if it was
I'm being sure.
through a safe, empowering?
But we already said safe.
No, we've
and-
already
Yeah.
got that.
No, we've already got the
Safe and
empowered
welcoming
Keywords.
learning environment. I like that.
and the safe
So
environment.
the first part is what we're going to provide.
Now,
Opportunities, safe and welcoming,
Yeah.
to create.
And we're gonna create
I like,
informed, empowered,
I
and
think
engaged
this
global
is where we do
citizens.
bring up the resources. Yeah,
That'll
because
iron
that's
But
it
then we
how
say
we're gonna
by,
do
or
the
through-
professional development,
providing,
the support
shared
for the
resources,
staff.
staffing and systems.
Yeah, I like
Right.
that idea, but
Yeah.
why can't we, here's
So-
the middle, and here are the spokes of the wheel. How are we gonna get there?
Well, okay, but as we do the further work, we say, this is what we wanna do. if we give it a little more, if we give this a little more, a little more substance, thank you. It's a little easier to tie goals back to this, because that's so brief and so broad that I can argue almost anything might apply to it.
Would be
Oh, I agree.
absolutely fantastic.
Which is why you refine it with the strategies.
So I think,
But I can make an argument that keeping things just the way they are. Yeah, we can do that.
So
You know,
I
no,
would-
I want
I'm
shared
gonna nicely
resources, I
meeting
want shared
facilitate you right
staff,
now.
I want.
Please do. So nicey medium, it's a facilitator shop. A little bit nice, feels a little mean. So I'm gonna have us stop our side conversations a little bit, because I think it's really important that we have a full discussion about this. So I hear Al talking about that spoke and those goals and those pieces, absolutely agree, that's not right now. So, but those pieces have to be thought about as we talk about personalized learning, and we think about resources and that. Right now, you have a statement, a start of a statement that says, you know where you want to get, but now we need to make that that next sentence be about our how. Okay. So if I could bring us back to think about staffing, resources, systems, and about that. Have you captured the lifelong learning? Yeah. You went to global, but it's there. But I don't want to lose sight of how you do that through providing, we need a verb there or something, but a transition, I guess.
Right.
So we will ensure outstanding educational opportunities in a safe and welcoming learning environment to create informed, empowered, and engaged global citizens by providing the shared resources, staffing, and systems necessary to ensure students reach their learning goals
And beyond.
and beyond. So I just can't give them the buzz.
I'm not letting that go.
Yeah, not a Buzz Lightyear, not and beyond.
Well,
But maybe not learning goals, but maybe by providing shared resources, staffing and systems.
Necessary to ensure students reach.
Necessary
and surpass their goals.
to ensure.
If you don't like beyond.
To ensure
I
again,
think that one's good.
we're gonna start this.
Attain.
What do you think so far?
Just leave it sure.
We'll get, that's what I was saying, we'll get to the ensure again, it's okay.
No, that was the only thing. They're learning.
So we could say the board.
In order
Do it necessary for students to reach.
to inform
Their learning goals. Will provide shared resources. The board will share resources.
necessary,
How about
necessary
through providing?
for.
I think we might just have to have a really long sentence. But just saying, empowered, engaged global citizens to provide, by providing shared resources, staffing systems necessary.
For.
You might be able to lose the word shared there, just the resources, staffing, and
Yeah, because that's what we are.
Yeah, that gets back to that
We're
great
not,
point.
we're not sharing anymore, we
Right.
are one.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really good point.
Thank
Maybe
you.
that's been bothering me,
So-
because that's what we're one now.
We're sharing amongst ourselves with what we have.
Because
It
we're
implies
one
we're
now,
separate.
we aren't sharing
Right.
what, yeah.
Necessary
Resources,
resources?
staffing, and systems.
I just kind of feel like it needs something at the end of that, that brings back the community, the families. like-
To ensure
Yeah,
students
instead of
attain.
reaching learning goals, I
their
was
learning
thinking
goals.
to ensure students, family, and community, help me,
So this is,
not reach, but
Attain.
attain or demonstrate or
this is where you're talking about engaging that bigger.
that bigger family, but that you're trying to,
'Cause we
it's
do wanna
bigger than
bring
just
in-
that learning goal,
Yeah.
like he says, and that it's representing the families and the community. We're not just trying to, our main priority is students, but the best way to help the students is to bring everybody up.
So it's beyond
To
just
reach and
reaching.
surpass their goals.
Experience.
If you don't like beyond.
Experience the value.
Yeah, that's what I was reading out of that one.
So is
Yeah.
this about reaching our learning and our lifelong learning or life and academic goals? Or are you talking about trying to bring in citizenship, because those are two different.
No, we have global citizenship, but just to bringing in, again, trying to draw in that idea that the families are involved, that the community, that the parents are involved. It's not a drop and run kind of idea.
All schools are community centers, and that everybody's involved in the responsibility of
Providing resources, having systems.
So what I
a
think-
welcoming kind of.
What I
system.
think I hear us saying is that our target is no longer the students and their goals, but our target is our community? Is that-
No,
No.
that.
No,
I'm
Those
not
are
hitting
two
the-
separate
we're not hitting the nail yet.
okay.
Well, if it was like,
No, that's good.
in this, how's that say? Ensure students reach their goals in a safe and welcoming environment, or,
Oh, we've already done that.
We're close.
oh yeah, that's right.
Well, when we say staffing and systems necessary, what are systems?
Transportation, feeding.
Yeah, all
All the
Everything that we
support,
operate.
all the
That's that
support
broad
that they
that
need
allows you
to
the grunt
do what
stuff.
they need to do.
Staff development, everything that's not money and stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of goals, I had scribbled out this one place, educational growth. To ensure students' educational growth, to ensure.
What if to, give a nod
Instead
to
of
Ken on
systems,
this?
can we say tools necessary?
No, I like.
Because system sounds just like two,
Computer.
yeah.
Well, part of, so let me,
Operated education system.
so educational, I think the systems piece, where that came from, when reading through the notes, was really about like, we've been disjointed. We haven't been able to have the same systems of approach even through budgeting, as an example, like how our SU could fit together. So now you're trying to create a system where there's continuity. So that's where I think that came from, which is different than tools.
What about
Supervision
student success?
system.
Reach student success.
So I'm going to give a nod to Ken for a second, because one of the things that I was thinking about is if by providing the resources, staffing, and systems necessary for students to surpass
Oh, yeah,
their education or their learning goals,
I like that.
yeah.
and then we have to get to the community piece.
So take out reach, put in surpass goals.
It does take care of that ensure word again, so it's like,
Necessary for students to surpass, not to ensure students
Necessary
We
for
really
students
got
to,
to ensure that all surpass surpass their
surpass.
goals.
No, we're not gonna.
necessary for students to surpass their goals, or personal goals, whichever.
Their learning
does that change the
goals.
content,
Their learning goals.
text of what you wanted though? Remember, you don't have to finalize it tonight, you get to cut, you can wordsmith after today to come up with.
For now, I think learning goals.
What's going on now?
I just don't know what we're trying to say.
I'm not sure, I think we're trying to say two different things, which is what's
Yeah.
getting really confusing. We're trying to talk about student learning goals and academic proficiency and lifelong learning, and we're also trying to incorporate how we're gonna involve communities
How to, right, yeah.
and bring them into our schools. So I think that, they're not conflicting by any means, but they're not fitting.
Well, and I'm not sure they fit together no matter what you do, right?
Yeah, I'm
I
beyond
mean,
that.
it's two separate thoughts.
Yeah, I'm over that,
Okay.
because it's student-centered. Should be student-centered, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
So
like
I'm
the
over
first
that.
Okay.
sentence where it ends at
Yeah.
citizens. I don't like the run-on sentence.
It should be a little bit too. The run-on sentence is hard for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it should be a period there, and then it should say through providing or by providing, or something. Somehow we have to
Maybe
make
we
this
can
a second
turn that
sentence or
into-
two that does the how we provide it,
So,
and that we keep the community in mind while we do provide it.
So
Is
through provide, by providing or through providing, through the resources, staffing systems, we will be able to, oh, I got lost. I almost had it.
Is it taking it off in a different direction to say staffing and systems necessary for students to become lifelong learners?
Is lifelong learners, it doesn't take it off, but is that repetitive to the empowered, engaged global
Yep.
citizens?
Yeah.
now,
I don't know.
Yeah.
then it's a
Gonna talk
term
about
that's
how-
overdue.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely, Chris?
If you put a period, in a safe, welcoming, learning environment, in order to create informed, empowered, and engaged global citizens, wait, no, that's not what I was thinking.
But what you
somewhere
could
put a
do
period there
is
and
you
then
could say, you could stop it at a safe, welcoming learning environment. And you
period.
say, by providing the resources, staffing, and systems necessary
To
to
create-
create informed,
yes.
empowered, engaged global citizens in order for them to surpass their learning goals.
Yes.
We'll change it. You don't have to have it. People catch that.
In a safe, welcoming, in
You want it there? You want the by there?
That was a suggestion, I don't know about that.
How does that sentence start?
Necessary to create.
Nope, undo.
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 So close. I was always talking at 3 points.
There.
Engaged global citizens, period.
Yep, I think that's where we're at, we're just looking for the next transition. So,
So we don't have the smooth transition, but we have the thought,
the only,
providing the resources,
The only
staffing,
thing
and
we don't have in
systems.
there is communities.
right,
And so then the only other thing we need in there is to go back down to the community piece where we're talking about being responsive or responsible to the needs of our community. And we've talked about making it single rather than plural, and keeping it fairly brief, I think, is, what we're doing here. So the question is, how do we make this a sentence that works, and then talk about it? And then the second transition into, the needs of the community are also a focus.
so I think we've got this, right?
Those
We're
those
good.
we've already
Well,
got,
no,
right.
that sentence right up there, I think.
We're really close.
We
This
could-
is the
I
part
like
that,
that, I like that, I mean,
Should we-
responsible for the needs of our community or investment taxpayer.
Should we marinate on it, considering the timetable we're at?
sure, we could, well, I guess, Joe, that's up to you.
Well, okay, so if we, let's get to a place that we agree that we're, so if we take out the top black paragraph, everybody's good with that, right?
Yeah.
So that, okay, that
We like the
goes.
red.
Yeah, let's
We
take
like
out
the
some-
red, we like the green. We now get rid of necessary all the way down to reach or exceed. And in a safe and welcoming, that first line.
Get rid of that.
Get rid of that first line. And then get rid of everything starting with informed all the way to the bottom. So that's what we have, and we've captured everything we want to say in this. We now really just need to find a way to make it flow smoothly and
sentences.
and do it in 2 sentences. We're not going to add more thoughts. We're not going to bring in new ideas. We now just need to make this flow right and say what it needs to do. So if that's where we
Needs to
really
switch
are,
around, because we don't
I mean,
start with five.
if that's where we really are, then I'm comfortable saying, okay, everybody take this home, look at it, play with it, think about it wherever you do your best thinking, and come back here and we can wordsmith it. But what I don't want to walk away with is say, well, now we need to put in this piece because we missed this idea. If we're still thinking about ideas, I think we need to get it to the point where we're happy with the ideas and we agree that this is it, and then we just wordsmith. Because that's a lot different process than trying to bring in new ideas and change what we're trying to say.
Excellent, because my last slide of my PowerPoint, after this one, is what did we miss? So it's not about the wordsmithing, it's about exactly that. Like, let's take just 2 minutes and think, are there things in here we did not capture?
If we
Big
go back
thoughts.
to that first tick-off list here, students at the center are the priority. I think we've got that.
Sure.
Forward thinking.
I got it. Comma, representing and responsible to our communities.
I didn't hear it, I'm sorry.
After goals?
No, after
No.
global citizens.
He's still trying to keep it in one
Yeah,
sentence.
representing and responsible to our communities.
Let's just make,
So let's
Yeah, we're gonna read
let
two
this,
sentences.
go ahead and put this in, we can marinate with that.
Yeah.
If you please look at that slide 4.
Our community.
So I just want to make sure that we actually ticked all the boxes.
Right. So slide 4 had some of the things that were emerging themes that
Right.
we talked about, and then there was things that each of you brought up throughout this process. So I want to make sure that everybody's voices are represented.
Rather than read them off, just take a look at it, and if you think we haven't hit something, please.
I think it's still missing the part about the families, because you don't want to be drop and go, right? You want engaged, involved families.
That's what
Did everybody hear that?
What did we miss was the family. piece.
Family is part of the community.
Yeah, families and
I
community.
think
But if you
to
talk,
be brief, we need, yeah.
it is, but I agree, but like when I walked around and talked to people about what they wanted to see, a lot of the parents, well, okay, I won't say a lot, there was at least 2 or 3 parents that said, well, I feel separated
want
from what's
back?
going on. You know, I don't feel connected to the educational system. Now, that can be developed by, you know, everybody, I immediately said, come to a school board meeting, you know? But I think that
I think
families are, I
Welcoming
think that was
environment?
important.
Well, I think
welcoming.
we have a welcoming environment, and B,
Yeah.
families are an important part of our community, and I think that the family part maybe gets fleshed out more in the goals rather than in the vision statement, because, we're trying to keep this as small as possible. We totally acknowledge that family is part of the community, but I don't think we have to list, and certainly families, if we say community and families, we've now singled families out. What about the rest of the community? Are we only acknowledging families as part of our larger community?
People who have children in school.
People who don't have kids at all still should be connected as part of our community.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, that's that place where all those damn vandals go to school or
And
something.
feel welcome.
So I think that's one of the, I'm sorry.
No.
Can we go back to the,
So I think that, yes, we can go back to statement, but I think what I was gonna suggest was, we're thinking the same way, is that become one of your goals? Because I did see that in the goal sheet, that there are things about how you connect with the community, how you open your doors to families with children, those without, because you're responsible to all those taxpayers as well. So I wouldn't lose sight of that, but I don't know that it necessarily has to be in here. I don't know if that captures your thought. in the feedback.
Well, it's just real easy for families to feel like they're not included, like you guys were saying, so I would just, my only 2 cents was to try to hone that in a little bit more, but it's for the board to decide.
And it may be that it's a broad board goal, like the vision statement's broad, but at the continuous improvement plan and goal level at schools, that we talk about true action steps, about making sure parents are involved and families are involved in what that looks like in the concrete.
Yeah.
Which gets to your goal about that, what's probably communication and also responsiveness.
Well, what doesn't get put in here can be put into the improvement plan.
Oh, it goes into goals.
Yeah.
I mean, the goals tie back to the vision.
Right, exactly.
Everything ties back to this. And this, okay, so we need to, be responsive to the need and responsible to the needs of our community. Well, okay, who's our community? Okay, these are all our community. How do we respond to their various needs? All of that goes into the goal setting. I just don't want to miss a big idea, of those emerging themes that we have that we all kind of hit in our homework.
I
Have we
always feel
missed
like-
any of that?
I just feel like this Al's statement that's one broad and then breaking into the smaller sections is a smoother way to transition then too.
so one of the things that on this list that you asked if we missed anything, I think what we haven't really spoken about is inclusive to all learners. We didn't say anything about equitable or
Is what?
inclusive to all learners.
Welcoming.
Welcoming an environment, I guess that could cover it. I just,
For
we
all
don't say anything about
students.
equitable.
Safe,
or-
welcoming,
Yes,
and inclusive.
Wait,
Maybe add-
It's many.
I think
Maybe add safe, welcoming, and inclusive learning environment.
Equitable.
What I heard you say was the equity piece,
It's equity.
Yeah.
which
That's
is a
what
little different than welcome.
it is. Just, I'm
Yeah,
not,
all
I'm
learners.
not trying to change anything. I'm going through this list and looking up there and thinking about.
Remember, this is your ideal. This is your what you want to see someday, like, if everything
Well,
worked
aren't we getting equitable when we're sharing resources?
Yeah, we're getting equitable for resources, maybe, but that's not what I meant when I said equity.
Right, you're
I
talking
want all
about
of our students
availability
to
to
have
all students.
equal access to all educational.
Would inclusive be a stronger word than welcoming?
Maybe we can add
Yeah,
that. I
maybe
like welcoming.
inclusive.
No, okay.
So inclusive and welcoming learning environment?
Wouldn't just saying necessary for all students to surpass their learning goals do it?
Yeah, by providing resources, staffing system necessary for all students to surpass their learning goals.
So we could take this home as homework instead of trying to read it tonight, since we do have more stuff on our agenda to get to tonight.
Right, so if we agree that these are all the ideas we have to figure out, we can now start wordsmithing this. At the next meeting, though, we need to wordsmith it.
We'll
to the
finalize
point where it is, so that we can start goal setting using this to go back to it.
I have one more question. Earlier, we talked about demonstrating, students demonstrating
Success.
what they've learned. Have we said that by saying that they will be informed, empowered, and engaged citizens?
That demonstrates in itself if they're informed and empowered and engaged.
A little while ago, we just said that was important, that they are able to demonstrate it.
Okay, so does anybody else have anything under what we missed? So we can take this home, we'll get a working copy of this, Bill?
I'm gonna share it to you once you guys say
So
go.
this-
Well, you know,
isn't
well,
on here.
no, we're riding a dead horse here. We're just gonna keep adding things and then narrowing it, then adding it and narrowing it. Get it home, have some time, think about it, right? Finalize it next week.
So also,
So
just
next month.
remind everybody, when they bring
Next
this
week, we'll be
home,
back next week. Same time, same that station.
when Bill shares this and you bring it home, remember, this is our ideals, this is our vision, but that we're not gonna edit out the work that we've already agreed upon.
Right.
Because that was the really hard work.
Right.
Okay.
And
so
keep
there's
in
no-
mind that things, you know, the demonstration piece and some of this other piece, you know, if we've covered it enough as an idea there, those can be those can go to goal setting.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
I mean, can you be an informed, empowered, engaged global citizen without demonstrating?
Yeah, I think demonstrating is a very different thing than equity.
Right.
Those two things are very different about what we're talking about.
Right.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to work with you. This is
Thank
really
you.
hard work.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I applaud
Yes,
you for
thank you.
coming to, this is a big, big amount of work coming down to a few statements, so nice work.
Yes.
And I can share the PowerPoint as well if you want that.
Beautiful.
You got it?
We have it on paper.
You have it on paper?
You handed it out, didn't you?
I did. You have it, but I'm
Yeah.
glad to share whatever you want.
I don't know. See what we think.
So far, it's pretty good. If I were a student
Sorry to
here,
be
I'd
nice
be
to
proud.
you.
Before you close that,
Can you put outstanding, equitable?
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
first sentence.
All right.
Me or Bill?
You know what, he's saying adding equitable and
In front of educational.
in front of educational.
Okay. Email that to everybody, Bill. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Joe.
We need to appoint a clerk, but unless we have a willing candidate who comes out of the woodwork here, I don't know what we got. We're gonna have to have another meeting like next Monday and see if we can find a clerk. Gloria Cristalli was not interested in being our clerk, and as you all know, or as I think you all maybe know, Pam Tweedy resigned as the West River Board clerk, and we need a clerk for the town meeting vote to certify that vote. So
So what does the clerk do?
The clerk's biggest job
is to
is going to be running the commingling and certifying that. So we really need a town clerk.
Oh, yeah,
This is our first commingle vote.
I mean, we can offer them some sort of payment, right?
Definitely. Oh, yes. We will pay them.
anybody check for Karen?
Pay them well. I feed everybody who comes. They're
Where do they
sending
have
me
to
all
come?
their time bills,
Where do they
any
have to come and
material
do this, Bill?
bills.
Where do they have to come and do it?
They're
Can they
gonna
do it
come
in
right
the town
here after all the votes are done, so,
Okay.
7 o'clock. But no one's gonna show until after they've done their local vote. All their duties they gotta do at their local place, and they
This
gotta
is
come
just
over
one
if
year,
they're
right?
JP.
This is
This
still
is just
1 year
for
deal.
March 6th.
Well, I will
Because on
certainly-
April 3rd, you guys are gonna appoint somebody else for the next year.
Right, at our annual meeting. I will certainly ask Anita, I need to go to town hall tomorrow anyway, and she's right there, she can come right here, it would be the easiest one. But I don't know how willing she'll be to do it, I'll be my most persuasive. I'll let you know.
Then you let me know, and then I'll go down the list and I'll see what I can accomplish. We would wanna make it worth their while as
We'll see,
easy as possible.
it's right after town meeting day.
The town
So
clerk
she's
is
already
really,
getting tired.
really stretched, and
And
really
stretched
hard
and
working, so we
grumpy.
really wanna make it
Really, she's
as
here.
smooth as humanly
Turn it
possible.
down.
I wanna
She
help
took Leland and Gray for one more year, but she turned this one
No,
down.
that's not our comfort.
Oh, no, you're right, sorry.
Alright, so you're gonna talk to
I will
Anita,
talk to Anita, I will let Bill know, and
but
then
we
we can
do
go
need
out
to
from
set a
there.
time, because we're gonna have to appoint a clerk. So can you guys all meet
I can't leave.
on Monday?
I can't leave, or we don't have a quorum.
Oh, Nancy. So hurry up. All right. Can we meet next Monday briefly at 7:30 and, appoint the town clerk?
I can't make it, I'll be out of town. The whole next week.
I don't know. I'm here.
Still like
It's
you,
really hard for me. If it's impossible.
Monday?
Jen, thank you.
No, I can't.
Can we do it by phone?
Berlin.
Okay, can we do, okay. Can we, if,
If everybody else can make it, I can call in, try to call in.
well, we can have a telephonic meeting. Because I have the capability, computer-wise, to put you all in, and as long as we warn it for here, and the public can come here and watch the computer, we can have it here with one person in the room and everybody else on the telephone, for a 15-minute meeting. It can be done.
15 minutes?
To appoint a clerk and be adjourned,
I
yeah.
would say 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay, fine.
If you've got one lined up.
If we, yeah,
If we have,
we've got
if we
one
have
lined
a
up.
candidate.
So,
Otherwise, it's
can we
one.
do a call-in meeting like next Monday night, or do people have meetings and other things that they can't do? Ken?
It's gonna be hard, but I think I can do it.
Pre-town.
I was like, I know I. something-
Are you gonna be pre-town?
Yeah.
Okay, how about, Tuesday is town meeting day, isn't it? No,
Following.
following
Week
Tuesday.
from-
All right, how about Tuesday night?
Tuesday, I can't.
Like evening, Tuesday night, 5 minutes call.
I could do 5
I'm
minutes on
calling.
Monday, as long as it's like 6:30.
I got a meetings Monday from 5:30 to 7:30.
What's 6:30?
I can't do anything till 7:30.
I might be able to call in on Monday if it's 7:30.
We could do later if it was, we could do later if it was
I don't think I
comfortable
could make
for
7, but I could do 7:30.
us. When do you think you're done Monday?
I don't know. 8?
Can you call in?
Yeah, I mean,
From town?
excuse me, yeah, right.
Can I just
can
step
you-
out in the hall for 5 minutes?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you do 7:30?
Yeah.
Ken, can you
7:30
call
Monday?
if necessary?
On
Monday.
Monday at 7:30.
Monday, 7:30.
All right, we'll get something put together. I will circulate basically a call-in number. You can either come in by computer, there'll be a link where you can use computer audio, or there'll be a telephone number that you can call in with a conference bridge, and it'll get everybody in.
7:30 at Leland Drive?
Yeah, I'll do it down here so public can come in, and we can't do a public call-in because the bridge is only 50. And if we had more than 50 people tie in, we'd blow up the
Will you
meeting.
physically be here?
Yeah, I'll physically.
And
be
I'll
here.
physically be here.
Oh, you don't have to physically be here.
I do. That'd be great.
No. You can call in.
That'd be awesome.
All right, done. Next Monday, 7:30.
That's if you have somebody?
We'll have somebody. If we don't, we'll let you know, but I mean, we'll have somebody.
We're in a much bigger challenge than.
And is
And you'll
someone gonna send an email?
I will send out an email with the link and the phone
Nancy
number.
needs to know.
And we'll let Nancy know, yeah. Yeah. And Drew,
Ooh,
yeah. I didn't hear from him either way, so I'm surprised.
All right.
Blizzard bags, Bill?
Ken,
Ken, blizzard
Yes.
bags?
Blizzard bags.
somebody can say, 'cause I can do it.
Anybody know what blizzard bags are?
No?
Okay, we gotta remember in public does. Okay, so to enlighten the board, Over in New Hampshire and also down in some towns in Massachusetts, they have what they call blizzard bags. And what they are is a packet that's put together that knowing there's going to be a snow day called, it is work that is sent home with the students. So if, I believe in New Hampshire, it's 80% of the students finish all the work, that it counts as a day of school. So it would eliminate the problem that we had last year with all the snow days and having to move, cut down the number of school days and all that. So basically, that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot, you can't use it to make up lost days or, the plumbing went or something like that. But it's basically to cover for a snow day that you won't have to use a snow day.
So, Ken, I hate to interrupt you.
Now go right ahead.
Emily has to leave, and I need to do this annual warning thing,
All right.
and then we'll pop back to you.
You guys can talk
Absolutely, go
about
ahead.
whether you were no quorum.
Right.
Action, whatever actions.
So the only action left on our agenda are, we have our annual meeting, which is April 3rd, 7 o'clock.
In the study committee,
What did you say?
in the study.
Oh, and, well, you know what?
That's a discussion.
That's a discussion. If the
No.
board has well, what, April 3rd?
That's what was set last year.
I already have it written in.
That's the annual. You don't have that. No, we don't even need a quorum. It's a public meeting.
Is April 3rd a Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's what we voted for.
Yeah. Yeah, this would be the warning. It's, similar to the Leland and Gray annual meeting, there will be more items as we become operational. And at this point, since we don't even know who our clerk is, all we need is just authorization for me to sign it once it's finalized, so that we can warn it 30 to 40 days ahead.
Is that a motion?
What we need to.
That would be the
Okay, so I
motion.
make a motion that Joe sign the warning for the West River Modified Union Education District.
Second.
Any further discussion? Once we get a clerk? All right, all in favor of authorizing the chair to sign this? When we get a clerk, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right.
So that will be signed and dated on the day you can get a clerk? Is that what you're signing, or are you gonna sign it dated from this day, and then the clerk will sign it on their own day, right? We didn't say it, we just voted.
You just did it.
I can sign it today.
You're gonna sign it today.
That's
Yeah.
what I wanna make sure, you're gonna
When
sign
we
it
get a
today.
clerk,
They will sign it.
they
I
will sign it, and
that'll
then we
give
will
us-
warn it between 30 and 40.
Right,
Which is coming up.
yes.
Yeah, we're 46 days out, I believe.
Okay,
Wow.
so do you want to go to this next? That's.
Now we can go to the blizzard bag, Kevin. Sorry,
Okay,
thank you.
all right, nope. And basically, this has to be approved by the Commissioner of Education, the Blizzard Pack.
There's.
So I think we need to empower the superintendent to look into,
I'm at the WCSU. The answer. Hang on one second. The answer from, well, we have to go with an answer from the board. My personal answer, I just want board backing if I say
So
no,
what-
pay your fair share.
So what I'm trying to ask is, I really do need to leave. If there's something that we all need to talk about when we're here with a quorum, let's do that now, no offense, Ken, but
Nope.
I really have to be on the road.
Well,
And
okay, give me 5 minutes here. We can talk about the study committee billing.
is that what this is?
This is the
Okay.
Act 46 study committee billing. We overspent the budget
Sorry.
by $10,000 with the 5 districts that studied it. And we sent out bills of $2,000 per district to every district that was in there just to make up the shortfall. Wyndham has pushed back about not paying it. They'd like to see it paid by 8 AM because they don't feel they got any benefit out of this. And I don't want to put the words into their mouth, but they're very unhappy about being assessed $2,000 for the overspending. And this comes to me as chair of the Act 46 Study Committee. I thought that they got equal representation on the board as well as equal input into the process.
Absolutely.
And probably equal benefit in their alternative governance proposal. I'm sure that a lot of the study work we did got used. So my feeling was that it was really fair to divvy it up just on 5 districts, 5 votes. It's going to be decided at the it's going to be discussed again at the WCSU meeting. But if the response from this board is that, you know, everyone should just pay based on the even split in the districts, before I go do that, I just wanted to know that that was actually the board's opinion or not, versus just speaking without discussing it.
So the alternative is to split by ADM?
We could split by ADM, we could
That's
split by
fine.
representation on the board. You know, and if we split by representation on this board, or representation on the Leland and Gray board, because that's really the 5 towns. You know, Leland and Gray takes it a little harder.
So does Newfane.
So does Newbrook, yeah. You know, ADM, Leland and Gray takes it quite a bit harder, and Newbrook takes it a little harder than they would just splitting it evenly. You know, it was 5 districts. Everybody took it to a vote. Everybody participated in this till the very end.
Yeah, we voted, we would have the PR person. I mean, we didn't spend money that nobody agreed upon.
You know, we didn't know until it was finished that we would have some expenses disallowed and that the budget actually got overspent. But now that that's happened, the fairest way, at least in my opinion,
Send the
was
bill to the
just,
governor.
You know, was to break it up equally among the 5 districts that participated.
It's a shame that we did have
Oh,
a
that's-
consultant there
well-
and everything, and nobody told us as we were going along, oh, no, that's not gonna be,
We didn't know,
Well, to be fair, I would say that they didn't know until
no.
right?
we turned in the grant, and that's when we found out what was allowed and that
Don't know where
the
from
two
Marble
20,000s
also
were
spent
cut
there.
off, and you
And this
couldn't
is how they're breaking it.
have $1 over the
That
20,000
doesn't
that
matter,
bled
but
into the
Marlboro's paying.
150,000, which really doesn't make
that-
any sense at
No,
all.
that was really not good.
So the same thing's happened in the other district,
Yes,
and which Marlboro isn't a part of at all. Because they went another direction afterward, and
yes.
yet they're paying.
They have agreed to pay a third, yes.
Yeah, the other study committee overspent their grant as well, and all 3 districts are splitting it evenly.
I think that sounds fair.
They were part of the committee, they did have input on all the articles. Those articles were voted on in their town, regardless if they passed or not passed. So they should be just as responsible for the bill as anyone else.
They had equal PR presence, they had,
Right.
yeah.
So ultimately, this will be a WCSU board decision, which will be on a March 21st,
So they'll
because
come,
they are the fiscal agent for the grant.
so they'll come and make their case there, right?
Yes, but since this group was the result of the study, I thought it was prudent for this discussion to occur.
And right now, the discussion's occurring, the answers are coming from me as chair of the study committee board saying, pay that. So I wanted sort of the backing of this board.
Sounds like you got it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry,
Legislate
my
well.
apologies, Ken.
Go get them.
Yes,
Interrupting you
legislate well.
again.
Mr. Chair? Yes, if I may?
Certainly.
So Ken, what I think I heard you say is you would like the board to direct the superintendent to investigate this concept with an appropriate contact at the Agency of Education and report back to this board about that conversation.
Yes.
Please do.
Thank you.
Can I make a note?
Certainly.
I mean, since you're moving so fast, part of the issue with New Hampshire, or part of the way New Hampshire is doing it, was also having kids log on and find their assignments and stuff. Be very wary of anything like that, because if you have one student who does not have internet access, you're gonna have to provide that student with internet access.
Yep.
So if you send them home with a bag of work, fine. But if you say they have to log on to do something, you got a whole new ballgame.
Right.
Correct.
Quality of access.
And you were on top of that.
Which actually,
from the beginning,
some of the
Quality
materials I
access.
had given to Bill cover that.
right?
Good.
No, I'm
Good.
I sent
serious.
him, I did already print them out a packet of
You were
what I
aware of that point
researched.
before
and-
it was problem. Yeah.
Yes, I was.
I knew that. All right, so Bill will investigate blizzard bags and report back to us. We've covered the annual meeting discussion. Bill, your cabinet report, I've already had all the questions I want answered about that at a previous meeting. Anybody have any questions for Bill on the cabinet report? You and the cabinet are doing a fine job.
Yeah, it was doing great.
Just want to make sure if you can check with your, all of you except for Patty are on individual boards. Have you guys finished the superintendent's evaluation and sent it to the
Done.
chair?
Done.
It will be done.
Okay. You have till the end of the month. Okay,
Let's wordsmith that.
thank you.
Let's ensure.
I've provided the meeting schedule
We
for you.
don't have, this board does not actually have representation on the WCSU board yet,
You do
until
not.
it becomes operational.
Correct,
But a number of us that sit on other boards are on the WCSU board
correct.
through that, okay. So anybody is welcome to attend one of these meetings.
Yes.
You just don't have a voice except through your individual board now. All right,
Is this a schedule?
that is. So at-large election update, I hear there's one person, I had heard other names where people,
So
oh, I
we
got a
have
petition and I got a petition.
One person
Apparently
has
one, huh?
completed a petition. I wanted to point out, we have one citizen who got over 50 signatures, did not make it under the deadline, but I've encouraged Mr. Foley to make sure that he is publicizing that he's interested in being on this board, and he's done a very nice job of doing that. Got some flyers, and I just wanted to point that out because this will be on TV, and we want to make sure that we get as many
hold one
interested
of them up for
citizens
the
as
camera?
possible. And tonight, I met a young lady from Jamaica who came tonight to explore that possibility as well.
And also Jamaica is having a candidates night on March 1st at 7 o'clock at the school. There will be food and beverages, mostly dessert type things.
Fantastic.
I saw a notice on that, but it was just for the Jamaica candidates. They
It's,
didn't
yeah, it's a
include this.
candidates night for Jamaica because we have a lot of openings.
Yeah.
But the at-large person is a Jamaica, will be voting on that person and writing in. So the at-large person is more than
Good to know,
welcome.
thank you.
That is
Um,
really good.
Yep,
Right, well, and anybody else who's
anybody else
interested.
who's interested.
Because it's all
come.
communities voting.
Yeah, and
Right.
my position's up, so there's other,
So will you say again, when is that?
March 1st at Jamaica Village School at 7 o'clock PM.
Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you for letting me get that plug in.
Study committee's out, done, thank you all. Negotiations council,
So I just wanted to get the board's tacit approval for me to start talking with our attorney to work on the new negotiations for the contract that will begin July 1st, 2019. I didn't want to start contacting the attorney and start getting some billable hours without the board saying, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, since we're going to be diving into a whole new environment. And Al and Joe and Drew, you guys all decided to be on the negotiations council. You remember that?
I do remember that vaguely.
I thought I recused myself because
Oh, you did.
Yeah, you did, Drew and I were
Pretty
pretty
sure.
sure.
So I just wanted to find out if that was okay with the board, if I started
Anyone have any
working with
objection
Joe
to
and
that?
Drew to Can I just,
I mean, we sent the required letter to the union within the 90 days of formation saying we're willing to negotiate. We've never received any response.
correct, I want to be able to
Okay.
contact the attorney, work with the negotiations council to find out, in this new environment, what kinds of questions and things should we be prepared for?
Also, this board should be aware of that we have 2 staff members that are going on a year's leave of absence, that from the individual district that are going to be re-employed by the new board. Leland and Gray has one and Newbrook has one.
Because under the
As
existing
of-
contract,
Right, as of
we
the,
can't
Who do we
deny
have?
that request.
I don't know if I can say that.
You cannot.
I cannot, so I won't.
So
So,
say we don't.
you do. You will, or you might.
Well, because, well,
But
it's
we
not
do.
approved yet by the board.
But therefore, if we do,
So it
if
may
we
not
do-
be happening.
you will.
All right, there you go. I'm like, wait.
Or
we
you
didn't
will have
approve
to
any of these.
reinstate them depending on, because the Newbrook board that allowed the leave of absence will no longer be
Right.
in existence. So therefore, it'll come into this new form board.
That's very
Right.
good, Torben. Thank you, Ken, for that. Yeah, we had a very good discussion about making.
Oh, wait a
sure
minute,
very
one quick
specific
note.
to the contract.
One quick note. Newbrook did get its first annual payment of $26,000 for the solar field. That will be moving right along there, and I don't know if you guys ever look on the Newbrook site, look on it, you can click on there, they actually have a drone going over the solar field from the school out to the river and coming back, and it's a beautiful site.
Great.
Good segue.
Okay, so engineering study update.
So I just want to let you know that Jamaica is the only school that they haven't been given all the information from me because they don't have a common board member.
Oh,
Every other board has a common board member.
Okay.
So I've spoken with the chair and we'll be speaking at their next meeting, and they're very well informed about it, but they want to have all the information before they make a decision. So I just wanted to let this board know that, and let this board know that everybody else has agreed to do them.
Oh, I thought they had agreed.
And, well, they haven't disagreed. They just didn't have a common board member. So,
Gotcha.
and Lori has put out an RFP, a pre-RFP, to gather information from the principals in order to put out an RFP depending on the value, if it goes to $15,000, if we all do it together. Working with the same company that gave the Leland and Gray one. Because the goal was to have them all very, very similar, similar language, and but if we do it as a group and it goes over $15,000, then we have to still do it for RFP, so.
Correct.
So I just wanted the board to be updated.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We don't have any policies matters, right,
No
Ken?
policies until the
Fall.
state, right.
Right. Okay, so the minutes of December 18th, 2017 and January 15th, 2018 are the only 2 items on the consent agenda.
But now that we don't have a quorum, we can't act
Ah,
on it.
we have to push that to the next meeting. Thank you.
That's right. Can we adjourn if we don't have a quorum?
No, we adjourned when Emily left. We just kind of scattered. Anything else we need to discuss before we go home?
I don't believe so. We have
Alrighty.
next Monday night, reminder, it's a telephone in.
Yeah, it was really
I'll
good
send
work
out
tonight,
the
guys.
email.
It's not easy to get down.
No.
Our next meeting is March 19th, 7 o'clock right here.